Everyone and everyone. And today we're going to be doing bottom analysis on Euro Canadian dollar. And as usual, we'll start by identifying our zones. So what are zones? Zones are, in the simplest terms, support and resistance levels on higher time frames. So wherever we have a support level, resistance level, support to resistance, or resistance to support, those regions are collectively called zones. So you can see based on my black lines that price has found resistance on that level, on this level, multiple times, turning it into a valid monthly zone. So, like I said before, support levels, resistance on support, and support and resistance levels on the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, and the monthly time frame are collectively known as zones. They are collectively known as zones. So, as we do our analysis, what we'll do is first of all start by identifying our zones, and then we'll identify our trend lines on the monthly time frame. Then we'll go down to the 1 week time frame, and we'll do the same thing. We'll identify our zones, then identify our trend lines. Then we'll go down to the daily time frame, and then we'll do the exact same thing again. We'll identify our zones, then we'll identify our trend lines. So I believe those are all the zones that we have for now on this monthly time frame. Next is to identify our monthly trend line. So we have something like this. This should be here. So this is our monthly zone. Make it black. We also have another monthly zone that we can draw like this. I called it a zone. We also have another monthly trend line that we can draw like this. Now we'll go down to the 1 week time frame and we'll do the same thing again, which is we'll identify our zones, then we'll identify our trend lines. So on the 1 week time frame, we have a zone here. Let's lift it a bit more. This is our weekly zone. We have another zone here. This is our weekly zone. So I believe that's it for our zones on the weekly time frame. Now let's see if we can draw a trend line. I believe that we can draw a trend line like this across these points like this. Yeah, so this is our weekly trend line. Don't worry too much about the fact that we have so many trend lines on the chart. We don't actually rely on our trend lines to take trades. Our trend lines are simply a means of estimating the current price momentum and direction. So now we've gone down to the daily time frame. We'll do the same thing one more time. We'll identify our zones and we'll identify our potential trend lines. So I believe you have a zone here. No, that zone has been violated. So I believe we have a zone here. I believe we have a zone here. It's a daily zone. We have another zone here. Another daily zone. Remember that even though I am identifying my zones as lines on the chart, zones are called zones because they do not fit so perfectly into a single line. The most appropriate way to actually draw zones is something like this, a range, because that's how zones actually act. Even support and resistance levels act in the exact same way, a range of price movements. But I prefer to identify them with zones, with lines. So now that we've identified our zones, let's draw trend line. So we have a bearish trend line like this on the daily time frame. So this is our daily trend line. So now let's look for our trend origin. So price has currently switched to a bearish momentum, making this right here to be our trend origin. Then our momentum, our market structure goes like this: impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional to the same place, impulsive. So we should wait for price to form a correctional before switching to the new impulsive, or we can jump along with the current impulsive move. Let's mark out the structure of this current impulsive move. We have impulsive, correctional, impulsive, correctional, impulsive. So if we can spot a correctional, then we can go short. But our best bet is actually to wait for the daily time frame correctional.